Medicine never cures.
The fact that we're born in hospitals and
In today's day and age, almost everybody's sick.
how much protein one needs, what is bioavailable.
Putting the wrong fuel in your body is like putting diesel in a petrol car. Why do we need protein? And dog's milk and cat's milk contain 10 times more protein than human milk.
People who say you can live on fruits, but the protein content in fruits is a lot less.
I've seen people who are breatharians. And you're almost one, since you have only one meal a day. Do you know anyone with protein deficiency?
What do you think about fasting?
But nowadays people do intermittent fasting. People who just want to lose weight.
People do water fast.
I believe that our body tells us when to fast. If you really love animals, then how can you eat them?
That you shouldn't have fruits in the evening.
We've been told that lie too long. Right from doctors who got there and we did the tests and they found out that they were not well, but they didn't know that. How can I cook without oil and I'm going to be deprived? Contraband, you go to jail. I was in jail. 3 days in jail is a long time.
Health is wealth. That's what I was told as a kid. In today's day and age, true health and well-being is becoming more and more rare. A doctor, a registered medical practitioner, the recipient of the prestigious Nari Shakti Puraskar, and the founder of SHARAN is saying medicine doesn't cure. So that's gotta make us think a little bit deeper, right? Welcome to my first ever YouTube video. I had the privilege to sit down and chat with Dr. Nandita Shah at Sadhana Forest's Vegan Forest Festival last month. We spoke about the myths associated with protein, fasting, medicine, nutrition, reversing diseases, diet, and so much more. Also, there's a little personal, vulnerable message from me at the end of the video. So let's get into it.
Hello. Hi, Dr. Nandita.
Hi.
I want to start off by thanking you for agreeing to do this. I want to make a little confession. You followed me on Instagram a few days ago, and there are certain moments when if you look up to someone so much, there's a feeling that, oh my God, I was squealing where I couldn't speak for at least 10 minutes. I couldn't stop smiling. I respect you for all the work you've been doing. You have pioneered in the space. For people who have been living under a rock and don't really know enough, can you give a short introduction about your journey?
Actually, in the 1980s, my father was working with Beauty Without Cruelty, and that time Beauty Without Cruelty was trying to stop cheese made from calf rennet.
Oh,
What they did was
that is the first extract of the cow.
No, calf rennet is that you kill the calf in order to take the stomach lining to curdle the milk for the cheese. And most of the cheese in the world, even now, is made with calf rennet.
Oh my, that's something I
But
didn't
then there was something, it could be done with microbial rennet. So there's now microbial rennet cheese as well as calf rennet cheese. So Beauty Without Cruelty tried to make all the cheese in India microbial rennet cheese. Even then when people make their own cheese,
So when you
say
say
artisanal cheese, maybe even in Auroville, it could be calf rennet cheese, but the big brands in India are all vegetarian, so-called, because they are made with microbial rennet. You need something to curdle the milk.
Right. And where does the microbial rennet come from?
So it's made from microbes. So at that time, my father thought that, oh, we are making microbial rennet, but then the calf dies anyway. When you consume dairy, the calf dies. So he started the thought of veganism in our home, and at that time I also became vegan. In that part of my life, my mother passed away of cancer, and it opened some doors.
How old were you at this time?
I was 25. And I was teaching homeopathy all over the world, and I was so glad that I was working as a homeopath because you're not using chemicals on human beings, but also you're not testing on animals and so on and so forth, right?
So you studied homeopathy?
Yeah, I'm a homeopathic doctor, a registered medical practitioner. And then I was teaching homeopathy all over the world, and I landed up in Russia, and
I know the
I
story.
was passing through customs, leaving, and they said, "Do you have any foreign exchange?" And I said, "Yes." They said, "Did you declare it when you came in?" And I said, "No, I didn't know I had to." And they said, "Contraband, you go to jail." So I didn't even believe it. I thought, how can it be? But then I was in jail. So,
Oh my God, I don't know the story then.
so then my organizer of my seminar, he knew a lawyer, he got me out. And it was lucky because I was out in 3 days. But if you don't get out in 3 days, then it's 6 months.
Oh my.
Then you have to go through all the trials and all. So I was lucky that the lawyer got me out. 3 days in jail is a long time.
My goodness.
If you don't know what's happening and if you don't know whether you're getting out and if you're in Russia. So it was a long time for me. And it made me think about what it must be for animals in zoos.
Oh my.
And then I also suffered from Guillain-Barré, which is an autoimmune disease, and it makes you think about being incapable, a victim. And to tell you the truth, even when I was a child, I had the feeling of victim because of so many different things, but also because my parents were not getting along, there were issues in the family. So even though there were many things that were really good, but I had the association of lack of self-confidence, trauma. So there were so many things that made me think about how must it be an animal, because all the animals in the world are victimized more or less, and most people aren't even aware. So people may be fighting for justice, but I think veganism is a social justice movement, right? That means you actually recognize the implications of your action on all living beings. So it was really so many things that I put together, but really until I became 100% vegan, from 90% or 99% vegan to 100% vegan, I didn't really get everything. But I realized that it changes the state of mind. I realized that it changes the health. I realized that so many people could be healed if they understood the implications of eating the food that is natural for our species. And most people don't recognize that we are not omnivores because we've been told that lie too long. I grew up as a vegetarian, so I could recognize that I'm glad I'm a vegetarian because I'm not harming animals, but then I found out that I am harming animals, so I had to change, right?
Felt the same
And
way.
from the time I found out till the time I changed completely was a number of years, almost 20 years. So if someone had cooked in ghee or somebody had cooked in butter, I just accepted it till someone came and told me that he doesn't accept it anymore.
Yes.
And then I stopped.
Because I feel this is something my parents also do, that they're vegan, but sometimes when they go to someone's house or they go to a wedding or a social event, and they're like, we don't want to cause inconvenience.
Right.
It's okay once in a while maybe physically it won't harm you once in a while, but the fact that you're okay with it, people are not going to respect your choices because they think you're okay to adjust. So a lot of people sometimes tell me, hey, a little bit's not going to harm you,
Right.
which is true, but then that sets a precedent that it's okay if you give it to me once in a while or you don't respect my choices.
True.
I'm okay with it. So you moved to Auroville 25 years ago.
I moved to Auroville to be closer to nature because I was recovering from the Guillain-Barré, which is an autoimmune disease. And I was working really hard in Mumbai. So it was a very busy life, and I knew that if I had to heal, I had to slow down. That's why I moved to Auroville.
And that's when you started SHARAN?
I moved to Auroville in 1999 and I started SHARAN in 2005. But in between that, I became 100% vegan around 2000, and then I started treating patients with plant-based diet as well. I
Along
saw
with the homeopathy practice? Or
sometimes
just
along with homeopathy, sometimes without. I started recognizing that you don't need homeopathy if you are willing to make lifestyle changes.
Yes.
So I recognized that anyway, medicine never cures. Even homeopathy or any medicine can only remove symptoms temporarily. But if you don't remove the root cause of disease, how is it going to go? And the root cause of any disease, like putting the wrong fuel in your body, is like putting diesel in a petrol car. It doesn't work, right? So therefore, once I recognized that, I put more emphasis on changing the diet. Having said that, homeopathy works on the mind-body connection, and I think that's really great. And there are different ways that you can work on the level of mind. You could use a remedy, but I think awareness is better. So, so now my whole practice has changed, and even that transitioned.
There are a lot of myths associated with nutrition, protein, how much protein one needs, what is bioavailable, certain people whose animal protein is absorbed much more easily. A lot of people who believe a certain set of macros are important. There are people who say you can live on fruits. We just heard a talk.
Right.
He was saying that we're from the ape family and we can live on fruits. But the protein content in fruits is a lot less than other food products that we often feel like we really need. What's your take on that?
Right. Thank you for that question. So I think that nature is always correct, and we have told ourselves lies in order that we may continue to exploit animals. For example, every mammal produces milk. Oh, let me start earlier. We have to think about why do we need protein? And the answer is not to build muscles, but protein is a food for growth and repair. And growth is very important, right? So when a baby is born, it doubles its weight in 6 months and triples in 1 year, and after that the rate of growth decreases, which means essentially the maximum protein per body weight required is when we are born.
Right.
Because that's when the growth is the highest. And at that time, human milk contains only 1/3 of the protein that cow's milk contains.
Right.
That's because humans grow to full size in 18 years, cows in 18 months, and dog's milk and cat's milk contain 10 times more protein than human milk. Because a kitten will grow to full size and can even have babies when she's 9 months old, right? So every animal produces milk according to the rate of growth of their baby, which means that we don't need as much protein as there is in cow's milk. And the truth is that the amount of protein in fruit and human milk is similar. For example, when I became a doctor, formula was not available in India, and milk had to be diluted 3 times for fear that you would give too much protein to the baby, right? Now today, most people don't think about it, but do you know anyone with protein deficiency? No, because protein deficiency does not occur except in starvation. But diseases of protein excess are rampant, like gout and acidity, and protein is a food for growth, and cancer is a growth which has skyrocketed, and kidney disease, protein is toxic to kidneys. And why do we wait till someone gets kidney disease to be told not to have so much protein, right? So we have to recognize that fruit has all the protein that we need, and beans and seeds and grains, because beans and seeds and grains are actually seeds, they will grow and therefore they have more protein, and greens are also full of protein. And the only manufacturers of protein in the world are plants. So if we get our protein from the original source and we know that we don't have any deficiency, then we shouldn't worry about it, right?
What's your take on a certain per body weight, a certain amount?
So I'm
body
not
weight.
very much into counting per body weight, because it also, we need different nutrients according to our functions and what we're doing. But here's the deal. Horses have fabulous bodies whether they count their calories or not, right? They don't think about it. And same with us. I've seen people who are breatharians, who don't even eat anything more than fruit. And you're almost one, since you have only one meal a day, and I'm not close to that. And I've seen them with lots of energy, right?
That's actually what I also wanted to ask you about. What do you think about fasting? Because a lot of people get scared when I tell them that I eat one meal. Oh my God, you're starving yourself, or you're not getting enough nutrition in that one meal, etc. What do you think about fasting? People do water fasts.
The only reason I don't have only one meal a day is because I love food and actually I feel hungry more than once a day. But I think it's a practical way of not being busy with food all the time, and I think what you're doing is great. And I also think that it's a spiritual process that doesn't happen overnight. You cannot say, today I want to, now from tomorrow I'm going to do just one meal a day, right? It's a transition. But fasting has been done for centuries, and I believe that our body tells us when to fast, at least when you're not well. I'm never not well anymore though, but if you're not well, your body says don't eat. And that's because the body can only heal when it's not digesting.
It's not busy doing something else. And it has
Yes. And so if we're unwell, it's really good to fast. And if you want to get better health, because no one is in perfect health, it's really good to fast. So why not fast? And if you have cancer or some severe disease, then the body, when you fast, does something where it's called autophagy. It eats up its own cells. So it eats up your own harmful cells, and this can be very useful in cases of cancer or in autoimmune diseases. It depends on the situation.
Yes. And it's not a one size fits all either.
Yes.
But a lot of people, to that point, when you fall sick, they tell you more. Oh my God, you need to eat something because you're sick. How's your body going to heal without
and that's
food?
because we know intuitively that when someone is sick, they won't eat, and when someone is well, they'll eat. So if you can see someone eating, you say, I don't need to worry about this person. That's why they're offering food, but we should use our instincts and not eat it if we're sick.
I appreciate that. So tell us a little bit about SHARAN, which you started in 2005.
So SHARAN is an acronym for Sanctuary for Health and Reconnection to Animals and Nature. And the reason it's an acronym is because I realized that animals and nature know how to be well and we don't. So how can we reconnect with animals and nature? And Auroville reconnected me with animals and nature. So it was meaningful to me. It just came and I had to use it. It wasn't like I'm thinking, what should I call this organization? SHARAN came. And I just knew when it came that this is it, right? And to be really honest, I wanted to start a sanctuary for animals because I want to live with more animals and reconnect with more animals. Most people are not connected with animals, especially if they live in cities, and you can't make them connect with animals, but you can make them connect with their health because everyone is sick these days. And once people connect to plant-based diet for health, they immediately get all the other things because everything's connected. So it doesn't matter where you start.
Do you think it's easier to convince people to go vegan for their health reasons rather than for saving animals and saving the planet? Because there's a bit of selfishness inside humans that, oh, it's good for my health.
I think different people respond to different things. If you really love animals, then how can you eat them, right? But let's face the facts, most people are so disconnected from even their neighbors that they don't know anything about animals. So if you love animals, you can't keep a bird in a cage, but lots of people are keeping birds in cages and fish in bowls, right? So that I like animals around me, but I've never connected to animals, so I don't know what love of animals is.
You're saying that's...
I'm just saying people really can't connect to animals, especially if you've lived in a city without any animals around you, you haven't had a pet and you've had a fish bowl. Or
I've been one of those people. Growing up, we had a fishbowl maybe once, and the small goldfish don't have a long life.
right.
I never had a pet, so the way that most people around me or my friends, they love their pets and they love having dogs and cats. I don't really feel that way. When I see a dog, I would say hi from a distance to the dogs who are loving. They would come and jump on you and I get scared.
Right.
But doesn't mean I want to harm them.
Right,
So there's
right.
still, like, even though I don't have that connection.
Right. So if I was going to come to you with a plant-based diet, I wouldn't start with animals because you would not connect that easily as maybe you would connect to your health,
Possibly, yeah.
right? Because, for example, you are interested in health enough to eat one meal a day, right?
Yes.
Or even sustainability, right? So it just depends on, I think different people respond to different things, but the fact remains that in today's day and age, almost everybody's sick. And so if people don't wake up, it's not going to get better, right?
Tell us a little bit about the different ways that Sharan helps people or how people can get involved.
SHARAN has a team of doctors and nutritionists. We do trainings for doctors and nutritionists every year.
These courses are all plant focused.
Absolutely. I mean, it's only, we are not training doctors from scratch. We are only training doctors and nutritionists who are plant-based on how to do a effective consultation in order to get health to people.
So someone who's already qualified in
Yes,
nutrition
yes.
can get the ways to do it better. And what about the retreat?
And we also have facilitator training programs. We have a team of facilitators as well. Maybe now we have around 40 facilitators, and they do talks, they do cooking classes, they sometimes prepare food for events. The reason we have retreats is because there we can get the results on the spot. So there are people who say, oh, I can't cook this, or I don't know if I could be vegan, or I don't know if I could follow whole food plant-based diet, and how can I cook without oil, and I'm going to be deprived. So if they come to our retreat where we have buffets for breakfast and lunch and dinner, and people think that they might starve, and we tell them don't come with food, but they still do put something in their bag. But we actually give them whatever they need. Even if someone has a special need, we'll provide it so that they are happy, because I want people to recognize that you can really enjoy healthy eating, kind of food that people are used to. So we have different kind of cuisines every day. We have groups that have to make a meal for everyone else during the retreat so that everyone knows how to cook. We have cooking classes every day. We have other things also, yoga and meditation, and we have classes where we talk about health. We have consultations, and we have nature walks and reconnection to nature, and even swimming classes. We have so many different variety of things. There's art therapy, whatever. And so people can pick and choose what's good for them. You can go back to life and do it.
And what kind of people should be coming to the retreats? Are these people who are not well, wanting to get better, or?
So to tell you the truth, we've had all kinds of people come to the retreat as well. Right from doctors who got there and we did the tests and they found out that they were not well, but they didn't know that. We also have had people who are really sick on more than 24 different doses per day, even way more than that. And our goal is to cut down those medications and do the tests at the beginning and end so that they actually see the difference. People who just want to lose weight. People who just want to learn about health. They want to teach health. All kinds of, they come from all over the world as well.
And where do the retreats happen?
So far we've had the 21-day retreat only in one place because it's taken a lot of effort to make sure that the kitchen is running as per our need. We take 2 people from our team just for the kitchen and cooking classes. We also do mental health in the retreat. So we do so many things so that people
It's holistic. It's
very
holistic
holistic.
experience.
We rent a beautiful resort actually, which has just 24 cottages and it has 26 acres and it has beach and forest and it's secluded. It's in Gokarna.
Oh wow.
And it's beautiful, it's well done, and I think when people are sick, they need that. It's a little high end, but they need that.
No, I've been wanting to have my parents experience this, and I remember discussing this with you when you came to Bangalore and we met, that can my parents still come if they're not looking to touch wood reverse any diseases but just experience and learn?
Absolutely. You know what? It's a retreat just to have fun.
Yeah.
We have fun every day, and imagine if you can get well while having fun, and then even if the cost is high, if I compare it to a hospital room for 4 days, then it's low,
Yes.
right? So
life
imagine
of
that
the
you will never have to
community
go
you
to the
build.
hospital, but the problem is that hospitals are paid by insurance and we're not yet.
I remember I saw you somewhere talking about the fact that we're born in hospitals and that's why we hope that we'll get better, but going to a hospital has never made anyone get better. When is the next retreat happening?
So the next 2 are in June and September this year, and anyway our retreats are always in June and alternate years June and September.
Great. Where can people get in touch with you or your team at SHARAN?
The website, they really should go to our website.
Did you know that SHARAN, I'm sure you know the meaning of SHARAN in Hindi.
Yes, of course.
And did that...
That's why I...
Oh. Now I want to ask you a little bit about food. Because you mentioned you love food and you cook pretty often and you eat a whole food plant-based diet.
I cook,
Yes.
and 90% of the time I cook myself.
What's a meal plan for a day? How does it look?
I love food, but I don't love the food anymore that you eat in restaurants. I love what I cook at home.
Which
I really miss my home food if I'm eating out,
I can
even
relate
if
to
they
that.
make really special food. So I wake up and have a green smoothie,
Yeah.
and people can find the recipe for that on our website. And then I have breakfast, lunch, and a small dinner. So lunch would be like a big salad. It could be a complete meal salad, or it could be some grain and vegetables or something like that. It's very high in vegetables, but I do eat some grain. And dinner could be, sometimes it's just fruit, or sometimes it would be something light with lots of veggies.
So this is for people who sometimes just have this myth around fruit that you shouldn't have fruits in the evening. You totally can.
Oh,
right?
you can eat whatever God has given us.
Yes.
But nowadays people do intermittent fasting. And there's something very good about that in a sense, because intermittent fasting means you're eating only 8 hours. And imagine if you were living in nature, you can't forage for your food before sunrise,
Yes.
and you cannot eat after sunset,
Yes.
which is intermittent fasting. So if we can eat more in the way that nature or God meant for us to eat, and less of, that would be helpful.
One little question while we're discussing this, because we spoke about apes are our ancestors and they eat a lot of fruits, and if we are foraging before sunset and after sunrise, what about the feast and famine? Our ancestors used to go out and hunt and eat that food because there were no refrigerators, nothing to store it. They would eat it and then they would fast for maybe days till they would find or hunt
More
their
food.
next meal.
Yeah. So in general, it's not easy to get an animal. And they would usually hunt an animal for a festival or some celebration, or maybe once a month, but not often. When I was teaching all over the world, then my friends in Europe used to tell me that, they were my age, they would tell me that when we were young, we would have fish on Fridays and meat on Sundays, and that was it. But now,
It's almost every day or multiple
now
times a
they
day.
are eating it every meal,
Every
right?
meal, because that's the protein.
Yes, yes. So they could recognize what I was saying, and even people my age or above in Mumbai, they can recognize things because they know that when we were young in Mumbai, you couldn't get milk easily and you had to buy it from a ration booth, and that was made from, toned milk was made from powder milk coming from abroad, right? So they know that when we were young and without refrigeration, people were hardly eating meat. When I first moved to Auroville, people would eat meat on Sundays for lunch, because after eating that meal, which is not natural for us, you feel so heavy that you want to sleep, and the only day you can sleep like that is Sunday.
Wow.
So all these slaughterhouses, stalls would open up on Sunday. But now it's every meal, right?
Is there anything that you miss eating since you've turned plant-based or vegan? Is there any food that you, maybe guilty pleasure or indulgence?
I wouldn't say that.
None at all.
Really, because I feel like there are alternatives to all the things I was eating, but I don't even crave them.
And now, even with vegan, there are ways to not eat healthy. You eat a very healthy meal for all of your
Oh,
meals.
so I don't mind eating unhealthy once in a while. But when I eat unhealthy, then I say, now I'm done for a long time, because it's not like I loved it so much that I want to eat it again.
And about raw food and raw vegans, what are your thoughts on someone like me? Let's say I would admit that I fear eating too much raw food because I've gotten sick a few times after eating raw, and I just feel like if it's not organic, it has the possibility of having insecticides, pesticides, and if I have a sensitive gut, then I'm going to fall sick. So I should avoid raw and eat cooked food.
I think you need to listen to your body, because everyone's journey is different. However, we can't forget the fact that all the animals eat their food raw, whether carnivore or herbivore. And so cooking doesn't increase the value of the nutritional value of the food, it diminishes it. So we should think about that.
Fair. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I hope you enjoyed this conversation. I hope it sparked curiosity and encouraged you to dive deeper into the topics of nutrition and holistic health, and not feeling limited by the fear and myths associated with it. I'm going to put the links in the description below to know more about Dr. Nandita Shah, SHARAN, and Sadhana Forest. But before you go, since this is my first YouTube video, I've got to give you some introduction and background, right? So many of my friends and family have been telling me for years to start a YouTube channel. The motivation was always there. Trust me, over the past few years, I have watched several videos on how to start and grow a YouTube channel. And there are plenty of those out there. Maybe someday I'll make my own version of it. But unless I get started, that's all theory, right? So I finally decided to stop procrastinating. Here I am. I'm ready to put in the work. On this channel, I want to simplify and detangle, if you will, the complications around health and wellness. Living a healthy life is a lot simpler to achieve than most people would like you to believe. It's complicated? Not really. You can expect a lot of content around fasting, wellness, nutrition, living a plant-based lifestyle, easy recipes, fitness, yoga, productivity, and being joyful throughout it all. Holistic health and wellness. Everything, everywhere, all at once with Shruti. So if this is something that interests you, hit that subscribe button and follow along, because there is a lot more coming your way. Okay, bye!